Hi, Empress Justice here. If the setting looks slightly different to last time, that's because I'm in London at the moment. As I'm filming this, my mother actually passed away last night, sometime in the evening, and I'm still grieving. But I wanted to do this January reading for you guys because, truth be told, that's what she would have wanted me to do. So I'm doing this not only for you guys, which is the main reason I do this anyway. I'm also doing this for her. I called her the Queen of Swords because even though she has a lot of water, a lot of water in her chart, she was actually a Shatabisha native. So in memory of her, we do this January 2024 reading. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with the signs that were her big three during her life, which was Aquarius, Cancer, and Pisces. All right. So, yeah. So for anybody who would like to donate, I will leave links in the description. If you would like private readings, I will leave links in the description. And don't forget to like and subscribe to both Empress Justice Tarot and Empress Justice Daily on YouTube. I also have 2 channels on Instagram. I'm still deciding what to do with Empress Justice Daily on Instagram, to be honest with you. But a good start would be to subscribe to Empress Justice Tarot and Empress Justice Daily. Okay? And hold tight, Mom. Rest in peace. You truly deserve the rest. You have been so strong and so inspirational to me. And you've been so encouraging when it comes to the cards. And I know that more than anything, you liked me reading cards for you. So again, that's why we're doing this today. So with that out of the way, let's get into the January reading. Okay, now I've got the notes here, so I'm going to read from the notes here because I do need help with my memory. So that's why I read from the notes. So for the 1st of January, we have a Purva Palguni moon. Or, well, when New Year's Day came around, it was a Purva Palguni moon. It was a Purva Ashara ascendant and sun. So there was big emphasis on love and feelings of love, but more than that, a feeling of just absolute boundless freedom. Our passions came to the forefront during the start of January. They're still coming to the forefront. There is an outpouring of love all over the place. It's just that outpouring of love comes about in different ways. And I know certainly from my experiences, the outpouring of love has been immense over here in London. It's just been incredible. So invariably for many people, especially from the beginning of January, the love is palpable. And we also reveal parts of ourselves that we didn't ordinarily reveal, like Purva Palguni tends to bring that out in us. It tends to bring out our shadow sides. And a lot of people associate shadow sides with negativity, but truth be told, right? Your shadow side is not always negative. This is the thing. Your shadow side can be a part of yourself that you need to unlock in order to realize your full potential. And Purva Palguni is not just about, it doesn't just bring that about in us. It also, if I can describe it, when this nakshatra comes around, it's almost like it's a distilled version of your bloodline. It's a distilled version of all your past experiences, the expression of who you are from the heritage that you come from. That expression is distilled, it's refined. It reveals itself through beauty of movement. So there's a real distilled air about how we manifest ourselves in terms of who we become as a result of our heritage. It's like we have a distilled version of that at the start of January, as well as the outpouring of love that is just incredible and beautiful and amazing. So that's for the first half of January. Now when January ends, it ends on a Mercury day. And it ends with a Hasta moon, Ashlesha ascendant, and Shravana sun. Now that's a trifecta of repression right there. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you, that's like a trifecta of repression right there. Hasta, Ashlesha, and Shravana is like, it is the essence of not only stealth, but physical and intellectual refinement. You become refined with Hasta and Ashlesha's energy together because they are both the embodiment of the moon and Mercury. Your ideas become refined and grounded. It is passion and precision meeting in one place and resulting in immense self-control or self-restraint. Okay? The only problem with that is that towards the latter half of January, that restraint, it might result in us needing release in other ways that might be less healthy. So what we need to watch out for is repressing ourselves too much. It's a wonderful thing when we're able to take the imagination that we have or the emotions that we have and ground them into a vision that is of service not only to us but to other people. It's incredible when we can do that. But the one thing that we don't want to do is repress how we feel and who we are too much. So after the progress that we made in January, it's almost like in the latter half of January, we kind of take a step backwards. And that's something that we want to guard against. With the Shravana sun, there's hope. Because with Shravana sun, it's less repressed than Hasta. It has a more mastered expression of itself than Hasta does. It's less repressed. It's more honest. It's more blunt. So the sun gives us an out when it comes to how we release our emotions. Through Shravana, we can release our emotions safely without feeling like we are giving too much of ourselves away. So it's important to lean on the sun's wisdom for the latter half of January. It's important to lean on the wisdom of the Shravana sun for expression of our honesty and expression of, who we are without going too far, because I think Shravana is very good at that. I think Shravana is quite good at being blunt without taking it too far, because sometimes Mula can be messy as hell. Why? I ain't gonna hold you. But Shravana in Capricorn has mastered the art of bluntness without necessarily being messy. So I feel like Ashlesha and Hasta are wonderful for us to refine ourselves and become better people. But Shravana is good for us expressing ourselves without overdoing it. So I feel like relying on the sun's wisdom when it comes to our emotional relationships, and then coming back to the moon and the ascendant, Hasta moon and Ashlesha ascendant, when we want to refine ourselves and when we want to be better. Like I said, this entire year is about self-refinement and refining our brand. So that was basically a lowdown of what was going to go on throughout the entire month. But there's more to it, because of course this is Empress Justice Tarot. It wouldn't be Empress Justice Tarot if there wasn't more to it. Okay, now what will happen during January is there will be an expansion of our minds and an expansion of our knowledge. But the way in which it will happen is that we listen to voices that we don't ordinarily listen to. So we do end up gaining knowledge and insight and wisdom, but it comes from the unlikeliest of sources, right? And it actually comes from the outer world, or the world around us, like just basically observing the world around us, really paying attention to the details, and just allowing ourselves to learn from what we're observing. So we do become wiser towards the end of the month. We do become wiser in many of the things that we have, much of the knowledge that we've gathered. We do become wiser. We do become, more discerning people at the end of January. But it's just that the way in which we express this is to actually be present in the world, to be present with the world's issues, to be present with those who are more vulnerable than we are. And also for January, the means in which we achieve January's objectives will be to travel physically, and also to to honor family and to honor our personal beauty and to honor our personal growth, to honor our self-perfection. So we are going to be, this is a month of expansion. I'm not even going to lie to you. This is a month of expansion, but it is a month of the most incredible love and the most incredible union, right? Now, the signs that stand out to me the most for January are Purva Palguni and Ashara. Sorry. What may I talk about? It's not Ashara. What may I talk about? So it's Purva Palguni in Leo. Sorry about that. And then we have Ashlesha in Cancer. So those are the signs that stand out to me the most. And I've always been incredibly fascinated by those nakshatras because they both involve fluidity of movement and, and being, just moving freely. But there's a difference between them because with Ashlesha, the fluidity of movement, it comes from the most intense hard work and the most intense self-refinement. It's not refinement of bloodline. It's not refinement of heritage. Ashlesha is just, actually, no, it's not Ashlesha. It's Pusha. So from Pusha, we're just coming into the heritage. And then when it comes to Ashlesha, we're just learning about our ancestry. We're just learning about our genetic issues. We're just learning about how our parents can encourage us or hold us back. So in Ashlesha, we're just learning about that, whilst at the same time, we're refining ourselves and we're refining our bodies and our minds and whatever needs to be refined. But with Purva Palguni, the fluidity in movement and the illumination and the wisdom and the complexity is effortless because Purva Palguni comes into it with those lessons already learned. But I think what unites Purva Palguni in Leo and Ashlesha is the fluidity of movement. It's just that it comes about through different ways. Through Purva Palguni, it comes from our strength being balanced out, but still existing and still being potent and still being powerful. With Ashlesha, it comes through, it comes through engaging in small movements in order to get what we want and being painstaking about it. So what unites the two is the fluidity in the expression of who we are. It's just that those nakshatras come to that manifestation in different ways. All right. So that is what we should expect for January. We should expect a fluidity in the expression of self. We should expect our minds to be expanded by us reaching out to those we don't normally reach out to, through us having an understanding of the wider world. And we should expect that we achieve January's objectives and we achieve January's objectives and we heighten the methods towards getting there through understanding family and love and beauty and through traveling more. Again, that's what's happening in my own life in weird ways. So I can relate to this, but invariably, that's what we should expect. Just don't expect the ways in which this happens to be the same with every person because we're all individuals. All right. So with that in mind, I've got to get into some of the notes because what I did is, whilst I was deciding what type of reading to do for 2024, I did pull cards for 12 months. So the notes that I've got here are from the cards that I've actually pulled in January. Okay. So I'm going to start with the least important notes first and then gradate into the most important. So the least important notes are public speaker, lecturing online, going for it, working an agenda, spying, strong relationship, moving, new residence, procrastination, worldliness, familial security and contentment, recreating happy childhood moments, intuition, intelligence, wisdom, responsibility and depth, possessiveness, jealousy and viciousness. Okay. So all those are normal notes. They're the least important notes, but they're still important. So never discard them. I'm going to read the second most important notes, which are teaching, learning, and celestial alignment. Now, regardless of who you are this month, you might have found a lot of synchronicities. Again, this is Ashlesha and Purva Palguni. There's a fluidity in the way in which we approach things. So we might find that there have been some synchronicities. Listen, man, when I was visiting my mum in the hospital just before she died, there were synchronicities all over the place. Now, again, this is a personal experience, but you will find, many of you invariably, that there are synchronicities all over the place. And the reason for that is because you are being guided through your bloodline towards a particular direction in life that you need to follow through on. So that's why this is important. So teaching, learning, and celestial alignment. We've got the teaching and learning through what I explained before, what January is really about. It's expanding the mind. And then we've got celestial alignment through, you know, spirit is really speaking to us this month. Spirit is really speaking. And it's really making itself heard. I'm sorry, my stomach's rumbling because I haven't eaten. But yeah, those are the second most important notes. And the most important notes... No, actually, no. I've got to come back to one of the normal notes. Caught doing wrong. Now, some people are caught doing wrong. But yeah, but that's one of the normal notes. So, sorry, side notes or sidetrack. Let me read the most important notes here. We've got long-term success and strong success. Now, again, invariably, there's a lot of love, a lot of beauty, and a lot of physical and mental expansion. There's a lot of global consciousness, okay? But what it results in, like I said before, it comes back to Ashlesha and Purva Palguni. It's a distillation of the self. I am so sorry about my stomach. It's a distillation of the self. It's a distillation of who we are as people. My stomach is so angry with me. I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. Oh, Lord. I really want to carry on with the rest of this reading. I don't know if I'm going to manage for 2 hours with my stomach rumbling like this, but I'll see what I can do. If it really gets bad, then I'll just do a 2-parter, okay? But bear with me. So, yes, ultimately January becomes a distillation of the self. Is ultimately what it boils down to, right? So that's what we should expect for January 2024. Now, okay, my stomach is really hurting. My stomach is really hurting. Count this as part 1. I'm going to have part 2 where I'm going to read for all 12 signs. So hang tight and I will see you in part 2. Peace and blessings.